Hey everybody, welcome to Back Issues of Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is all Tiffany's fault. That's why you're here. We went to San Diego Comic-Con.
Wait, this isn't my fault. Why am I here?
Oh, because we need a third. And I think you're really going to respond to Lifeform.
Okay, so here is, okay.
Yeah, apologize now.
It is my fault.
Yeah. We went to Now or Never, a comic book store in San Diego, California.
All right, we were at San Diego Comic-Con and we still went to a comic book store.
We went to 2 comic book stores.
I randomly was flipping through and I saw something and I was like, oh, I've never seen this before. And it had like a title at the top of it. And that normally means it's either like an event or like an initiative or something like that. And when I see something like this and I'm not 100% on it, I just ask this guy about it. So I turn it around.
Yep. And I'm like, I've never heard of that in my life. It is a long-forgotten Marvel annual event, not unlike Atlantis Attacks, which is also like a big Marvel event that took place over all the annuals. This one forgivably went across 4 annuals. So it's quite short.
Is it kind of, it's not like Bloodlines then?
It is a lot like Bloodlines because Bloodlines is also an annual event.
Yes.
But Bloodlines did have 2 specific books made for the event.
And this doesn't.
This does not. There is no book called Lifeform, number anything. This is interesting. It came out in 1990, and it connects Punisher, Daredevil, Hulk, and Silver Surfer.
One of these things isn't like the other.
None of these things are like the other. I mean,
at least 3 of them come from the same place, and they might interact with each other.
It's a really weird pairing of characters. I should point out that none of these characters team up or cross over at all.
Oh.
We don't see Frank meet Norrin. We don't see Matt team up
They're
with
not
the
in
Hulk.
each other's books at all?
They are not in each other's books at all.
Well, what the hell is this then?
This is an event that is about one character. So I read all this in one sitting and I was like, someone has to answer for this. Basically what I ended up doing was just reaching out to editors at that point. I reached out to Ralph Macchio. No, not the actor, the Marvel editor. I connected with Bobby Chase.
We should have just asked the actor anyway.
Yes.
He should have been on.
Right. He's like, what? There is no through line. Each of these books is edited by someone else. Each of these books is written by someone else. There is no consistency, there is no connectivity when it comes to the creative team outside of Tom DeFalco, who was the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics at the time. The only one whose name is on all 4 of these books is Tom DeFalco. So I contacted Tom DeFalco and I was like, Tom, what is this? And he said, Sal, I don't remember it in any way, shape, or form.
And how did you get my email?
I didn't. It was LinkedIn. LinkedIn has become a unofficial member of the ComicPop team. It's been so invaluable when it comes to reaching out to some of these people.
Amazing.
But yeah, Tom DeFalco's like, I'm sorry I couldn't help you. I have no recollection of what this event was, why it came to be, who was responsible for it. I hope I can help you with another book some other time. And I'm like, thank you, Tom. I also reached out to one of the assistant editors who also said, I'm sorry, Sal, but I have no recollection. I knew one person who was involved in this story would know, but it's Peter David, and he's ill.
Okay.
And I really didn't want to bug him,
Very fair.
even though I knew Peter David would know,
Very
have a
fair.
story, and be happy to tell me. But I will wait.
I think that's
Fair.
very good for you not to be a ghoul.
It actually has ramifications. It invents a character and a villain, and the only other time that they were ever referenced was in the appendices of a book. It wasn't quite a comic book so much as it was a comic book, but it was also like a collection of like entries for Advanced Idea Mechanics, which had like files on characters, is still on the shelf. They didn't annihilate him or atomize him or anything. Not like that matters in Marvel Comics, but he is just sitting, waiting, patiently.
Wait, is this entire book about him, or is it just part of it?
As is the case with most comic book annuals, these are collections of stories. The first main story is the Lifeforms arc.
Oh, okay, cool. So we don't have to go through all of these.
No, we don't.
Oh, that's...
We're only dealing with the first 8 or 10 pages of each of these annuals.
All right.
Oh, that's not bad.
And even with Silver Surfer, it begins starring a completely different superhero. That's right, I asked Ron Mars, who co-wrote the Silver Surfer issue with Jim Starlin.
Okay.
And I
Wow,
said,
what?
Yes, and I was like, Ron, do you remember anything about Lifeform? And he's like, I do. I can tell you something about Lifeform. I'm like, what was it?
It sucks.
No, he doesn't remember, but he does know it was the first comic book he ever wrote.
What?
He's like, this was the first story I wrote for comics was the co-writing of the 4th chapter of Lifeform with Jim Starlin. Outside of that, I have absolutely no recollection about what it's about or where it came from.
I'm sorry, I smoked all those memories away.
I think they all did. Or there was a gas leak at Marvel Enterprises. So, how does Lifeform begin? Well,
Lifeform could be the biggest conspiracy at Marvel.
it could be. We might have stumbled on something. I'm going to get a call from, like, Kevin Feige. Feige's going to, because he's the COO of Marvel now.
That's right. We'll get Feige. This
gonna
is
get Feige.
this is crazy.
Oh, I know.
Whatever this little story here. What?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's do the story that I found.
You found Lifeform. And what a great logo.
But you didn't have to buy it. Since that's not my fault.
needed to know.
found it.
Tiffany, yes, he did. You introduced something new that he'd never seen before.
Yeah, that no one has seen
have
before.
to own it.
We have to know. So,
That's like my skill. is
Right.
We
Yeah.
go to a comic book store and I'm like, here's something random,
right?
and it sounds like
What's this?
down the rabbit hole I go.
It's something I never would have picked up before.
No. Or ever. So chapter 1 is Punisher, Lifeform Part 1. It's
Yeah.
written by Mike Barron with art by Neil Hansen. It introduces the concept and the world, though I have to say, these two, after they're done with their Punisher stuff, they just disappear. Like they didn't just birth this horrible thing into existence and didn't take responsibility for it. Like so, that's Daredevil's problem now. After we're done, and you're like, okay, cool.
Hey, I'd like to get more work. No.
No, these guys were like, we're making Punisher stories, and they were like, well, we need you. Whoever was like, we need you to do more,
Yeah, it's a life form from beyond the stars.
right? And you think like, okay, sure, that makes sense, but no, he becomes that. Like he's a dude who gets mutated by a virus.
An alien virus.
Nope, a man-made Earth-born virus.
His parents is an alien?
Nope, no. There are no aliens outside of
Why
Silver
would you,
Surfer
why
in
would
this
you
story.
call it Lifeform?
Right. Well, because they couldn't commit to anything in this story. So they
Why
were
do they
like,
call it virus?
right?
Outbreak. Wait, is there another outbreak?
Pathogen.
There's a movie called it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Pathogen.
This came out before Outbreak.
Yeah, that's weird.
Wait, do other people get infected?
Other people do get infected.
Oh.
But it's not like everywhere that George goes, he's infecting people. It's more like stupid assholes who deserve it are getting infected.
Oh, it's
All right,
selective.
so it's a justifiable virus.
I guess it's really weird. It's a weird thing, and I don't know who made it or why, but here it is. So we meet George Prufrock. George is an AIM agent who's also there because his father, Jethro Prufrock, is a right-wing libertarian presidential hopeful who has money, and he also is like afraid of the inevitable uprising of the proletariat, and so he has like a cache of weapons throughout his house and estate, and commissions AIM to make this virus from the shell company Progamma that is also run by AIM.
Like Proof Rock?
No.
Or Prue Frock?
Prufrock, like the poem about peaches by T.S. Eliot. There is a poem that T.S. Eliot wrote that includes the term or word Prufrock.
Wait, you're telling me that there's a poem about peaches?
Yeah,
And we did a peach-themed color
that's
in
right.
our background?
Can you believe it?
Oh my god.
Unintentional.
Entirely unintentional.
Wait.
Or subliminal.
Hold on. Prufrock is a word?
Yeah,
What does it mean?
I don't know.
What?
I think it's just a name. So George breaks into Progamma to obtain this virus. This is his first time seemingly breaking into something. I mean, he's wearing a gimp suit. He has no idea what the hell to wear to a crime spree.
Look, it's what he had at home.
That's what
He got it out of his dad's closet.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is my dad's thieving outfit.
Yeah, he went to, hey, my dad's got this awesome swing he never lets me play on, and he's got all these chains and leather numbers. Ooh, a mask. Perfect. I need that for my caper.
Ooh, a double-ended rubber nunchuck.
He breaks in and he immediately finds like the lab with the diseases, the disease he's looking for, of course.
Yeah, of course he does.
And so he gets it, and a hapless security guard finds him immediately, and he's like, hey, stop.
Okay.
This dude is not prepared to handle viruses.
Those are driving gloves.
That's true.
well, that
fair.
way he can move the car.
Right, because it's George. This is where George ends up. No,
Yes!
I don't know if I like that.
I was going to say, maybe this is what happens when he loses his wife.
Yes, because he didn't move the car.
Is it a Georgian or Georgian?
Like he's from Georgia?
No, an origin, but for George.
Oh,
A Georgian.
Georgian?
I like Georgian.
Georgian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Georgian works.
Right? Just adds to the wiki for George. So then, Employee of the Month security guard over here, who also secretly works for AIM, is like, hey, what are you doing over there, sex gimp? Get over here. And so,
Is it my birthday? And George is like, what?
George's like, zip.
Unzip.
So, yeah, exactly. So George is, well, look, it makes a zip sound whether way or the other. So George's like, catch, and he whips the virus. The deadly virus that he's trying to obtain. He just throws it at the security guard, and the security guard immediately is like, screw that virus, I'm gonna fight you with my whole body.
Cup?
Right, because these guys don't, right, like, it's in a cup.
Okay, so the way they made it, all right, I guess they're cups. I thought these were Petri dishes.
Yeah, no, those are the top parts that are suspended in.
That's like a lot of virus.
It's a lot of virus.
That's like a milkshake amount worth of virus.
And it's like, that you don't need that much. He threw the whole can at this guy.
Also, here's your extra cup of virus then.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, good, I wanted that.
Also, I guess, okay, so no, because George kills the security guard after like a tense fight that also might end in a lover's spat.
Holy shit, he really goes to town.
Yeah, like the security guard is earning his pension, and he eventually tries to choke out George before George just whips out a knife and just opens him up from stem to stern. And you're
I
like,
was about to say he was one day from retirement, but like, no, this is his second day on the job.
yeah, no, this guy is like, I am gunning for employee.
He's a greenhorn.
That's right. So George kills this guy, and he's like, I got some of that stuff on me, but I'm sure my pop will clean me up. And you're like, wait, what? Like, you're referring to the virus? Because I thought you were referring to all the viscera that came out of the security guard.
Okay, so I feel like, so George, number one, wrong outfit.
Yeah.
George, number two, just broke the virus he was supposed to bring home.
Right?
So he hasn't actually done anything.
No, but
I
now
mean, to
I'm
be
infected
fair,
with it, so I'm going to bring it where I need
he's
to go.
covered in the virus. It's coming with him.
Exactly.
All right.
By the way, this virus is supposed to induce hallucinations in its victims. The idea, I guess, is supposed to be like, it makes people crazy. But in this case...
hallucinations
Sex
don't make it
crazy?
Crazy?
No, well, George's already sex crazy, based on the outfit. But no, in this case, it makes you mad and see things that aren't there. In this case, it turns George into the Lifeform, which he already was one, but now he's a different one.
All right, is he really it, or does he think he's it?
Right? No, he really is.
Oh.
He's really turning into a horrible, like, puffy-lipped monster that wields a crowbar and attacks Frank Castle the Punisher, because Punisher is listening in on the chatter about the activities of AIM. So he's like, all right, I'll go to Pro Gamma and I'll investigate that situation. And so he does, and when he gets there, he infiltrates the beekeepers by putting on a suit himself. And,
Wait, why wasn't one of the beekeepers there to watch the virus? Why have like a regular security guard?
Because like AIM is keeping up appearances. AIM owns
okay.
Pro Gamma. The Pro Gamma company has its own security force that also works for AIM, because you can see them interchangeably with the beekeepers. So anyway, Frank becomes an AIM beekeeper. He interrogates
He
a couple
hides in a beekeeper suit.
Buzz.
So Frank attacks a couple of beekeepers and interrogates them, and they're like, the virus is out! We gotta get out of here! And Frank's like, what? And then, so George attacks wielding a crowbar, and Frank's like, what the hell is happening here?
He's like, I think I need to exit this book.
Exactly.
It's my book.
Also, this is kind of gross, but like, he has less hair on his head because of the tumors or whatever's growing out of him.
Right? Yeah.
But he has more hair on his knuckles.
I know,
because of it.
I don't
Yeah.
like it.
No,
it's
it's
like
just-
he's
it's-
sprouting.
Yeah.
It's really disturbing.
It's awful. But really, really well depicted, by the way.
I was gonna
like,
say,
it looks
like-
cool and scary, but like, what?
It may be a virus, but because it's called Pro Gamma, I assume there's radiation, which makes sense as to why he's mutating like he's being burned.
No, Pro Gamma's the name of the company. That's just a fun, cool sounding name.
I feel like this would have made more sense with the hallucinations if he had like thrown two things at once.
Right. Or like it becomes a mutant super virus or something. Nope. It's just that Jethro Prufrock, known crackpot libertarian lunatic, and I'm only saying libertarian because that's what they identify him as in the book, but he commissions the virus as a, weapon against the proles. So you're like, okay, cool. I don't see how that protects you, but also, what? Anyway, so Frank is like, I gotta get out of this. This is a Frank Castle book, though, so I can just open up my arsenal and just go to town. Just kill this guy with lead poisoning. Just blows George away. But then George is like, oh ho ho, and as he's getting back up, George Prufrock's father's voice is echoing in his head, being like, you were always a disappointment, George. Go get him. And so Frank exits stage left. He's like, okay, well, I'm getting out of here.
I was like, well, that was weird.
Yeah, hops onto his bike and rides out of there while being attacked by more pro-gamma security forces. And he's like, all right, that didn't go well. So I will go to...
No, that did not go well.
That did not go well for me. I mean, it did because I didn't get the virus, thank God, somehow. And so I'll get on my...
He shot it.
Right. So I'll get in my van and I'll go to Jethro Prufrock's estate and I will punish him? Like, I don't know. I'll go kill him or something. It's pretty vague, his plan.
It just feels like Frank's day-to-day it's pretty loose.
It's very loose. Very
It's just
open-ended.
I don't know.
It's like, listen, you know, when people offer him to do things, he's like, I don't have to check my calendar.
He's like, hashtag van life.
Killing. Yeah, he is. It's very much. Frank was the original van life. So Frank impersonates a company. He could be a plumber. Oh, toilet's backing up again. But no, he's there because his Frank's cover story is that there was a rabid dog seen on the premises, and he is there to cordon off the area and procure the animal.
Hey, rabies was huge in the 80s.
What?
I like the idea that Frank's like,
It's gotta be elaborate.
if my family hadn't died, I was going to be a creative writer.
Right. And I've got a character every week. It's like, okay, Frank. So, but this is also his way of keeping people from leaving, you know?
Hi, I'm Grandma Tuttle, and I have pies to sell.
Okay, Grandma. Why don't you... Oh, no!
It's Frank Castle!
It's the end of every story, Frank has. Oh, no, it's Frank! So Frank is like, all right, that worked somehow. And so he sneaks onto the estate. Meanwhile, Jethro's other child, Martha, is reading Jethro's Prufrock, The Riot Act.
He named his children George and Martha.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Why?
That's so dumb.
You mean like the Washingtons?
Yes.
Well, Jethro's a patriot. So
I thought you were going to grab his arm and say, why did you say that name?
no, because that would be hacky and terrible. Why would anyone do that? Martha reveals why George was stealing a virus that Jethro had AIM commissioned in the first place.
And that was?
And it was that George is ripping off the company he hired in the first place. So now he can be like, well, you idiots can't even keep track of the viruses that I pay you for? What am I paying you for?
Okay, so Jethro basically was like...
I'm going to two-time AIM.
Yeah, like, I want the virus, but I don't want to pay for the virus because I didn't get rich by paying for things.
That's right. So
I mean, that's most of the rich anyway.
So what Jethro did was he also did a double boomer whammy where he got his loser son a job at AIM and then allowed it to be an inside job. So
he's also a Nepo baby.
He is George's Nepo
Okay,
baby.
so... Also, it seems like Jethro doesn't care for George.
Yeah.
Like, is Martha the favorite child?
Martha seems to be the favorite child. George certainly believes his father thinks little of him, but he also worships his father and wants his approval. But it doesn't matter because Jethro doesn't make it out of this book. Or out of this issue, for that
Neither
matter.
does their dog.
No, Frank just blows that dog away. Frank has no compulsions about dogs. So I love it because Jethro is like, oh no, it's the communists! And Frank's like, that's right, Gorby sent me himself. And he's like, I knew it! And he's like, yeah, I killed him right before I murdered your son, George. And he's like, you killed my son? He's like, yep, filled him with lead. He's totally gone. And
You'll never see him or his grotesque body again.
That's right. Oh, also, but I did him a favor because he was also horribly mutated and dying. But anyway, that gives Jethro a heart attack. And so he doubles over, but... It's all a ruse. He doubles over in his chair, and then Martha goes to his aid, and he goes, okay, Martha, make sure to move. And then he pulls out a gun, which he keeps under his easy chair, and he fires at Frank. Frank then kicks Jethro in the face. In this, move of acrobatics, I was like, this dude, Frank is fast as shit. He's like, wham! Just lifts the leg like a gymnast. He's just like, whoa! I gotta disarm this old man who is in a seated position. How am I gonna do that? I will hurl my foot into his face.
It's effective.
It is because Jethro does say, my face!
Frank's whole move was, all right, my Friday night is clear.
Yeah.
Nothing else is happening.
I'm gonna mess with
anywhere.
the Prufrocks.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to his house. I'm not gonna shoot him, even though that's what I typically do.
That's what I should
Oh no! Let's shake this Punisher story up.
Yeah.
I am going to instill a heart attack in this man.
Well,
oh no!
The heart attack was not deliberate.
Okay.
It was just because Jethro is old and knows people know it.
And also needed a reason to reach for his gun.
Yeah,
So
I
he's
know. Jethro's like, oh, my heart!
All right, then fine. So upon seeing this man drew a gun, instead of just blowing him away, he's like, wait, hang on.
Yeah. I want to do a whole thing.
What if I kick him in the face?
Yeah.
But if I shoot him,
what if I try that?
That's right. Like, well, what answers do you need at this point anymore, Frank?
What if I just took my big white boot?
Yep. And just
filled
his face with it.
Yeah, just dropped it right on his face.
But while Frank is intimidating Prufrock, the security force that's protecting the estate is like, oh my God, it's happening! They're all
oh God, the Punisher's here!
Yeah.
Oh no, it's the rabid
Yeah,
dog!
yeah, right? They have all these conflicting reports, and he's like, oh, looks like Sonny Boy's on his way home, and then George blasts through the window, and he's like, okay, Dad, I got this! And you're like, what? Why are you so gross looking? I hate looking at you, George!
I hate looking at you, and that is so much glass.
I also hate the fact that part of his mask goes into his mouth.
Yeah, it's like being absorbed by his flesh. The other thing is his design will shift and change from issue to issue. That is implied to be because that is the status of his evolution, but I think it's because no one is talking to each other.
Is this the worst one?
It is the grossest.
Okay, cool.
I think.
It's only up from here, though.
The rest are
folks.
more amorphous. It's more like, oh, I've seen that.
This is terrible.
This is too distinct.
Yes. This
But
is...
to know that he was once a man.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Like, this is bad, but if
This-
the others get more grotesque...
It gets more body dysmorphia.
This guy reminds me of, you know,
Plastic Avenger?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no.
Or the
it's
Garbage Pail Kids.
Literally not either of those things. The Fantastic Four allegory in Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy who's like a human callus or
That's right, yeah,
whatever.
that's it.
Yeah, like that's what that's... Yeah.
Yeah. Frank has a couple of...
Oh!
Frank has a lot of great shots. He just like grabs him by the face. He just starts emptying his clip into his head, but it's not working.
I
Meanwhile,
mean, that really should work.
That is the worst.
yeah. So George, by the way, he is...
Tiffany, don't you like all the extra hair that's coming out
It's
of his
not, it's
eyebrows and
literally,
eyelashes?
it's not even that. It's not even the hair. It's literally the fact that like his eyes are so swollen and lumpy and no.
Yeah.
No. No.
I love it because like, so George is freaking out, but for different reasons. You know, he's like, Dad, the headaches are back. I think we got to talk to the doctor again because I'm freaking out, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, the least of your problems are the headaches you're
Have
experiencing.
you not?
Well, he's not even like really rationally there.
Right.
Meanwhile, his father is like, son, he's a Russian agent. Kill him. He told me himself. Like, he's still buying the cover story.
Also, look at your son!
Yeah, I know. But he's like, no, well, I have another one. It's
So
okay."
this virus may not make any hallucinations because clearly mental instability runs in this family.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Martha's like, I'm going to leave now.
I'm just going to quietly back out the room.
I was adopted.
Right. But so then, of course, we need the shift in attitude for George. Then George's like, oh, Dad, I forgot to tell you, I actually hate you. And so he chokes out his father. But while he's doing that, Frank tries to keep George from killing his own father.
Why?
I guess because he wants to kill him himself.
Yeah, I'm the Punisher.
How dare
I'm the
someone
one who punishes.
outkill me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, you don't. But so then I think George ends up killing Jethro anyway. But so then Frank gets George off of his father, and then Martha returns with a weapon, and she starts emptying the clip into George.
She pulls an Alfred.
She does. So Martha then knocks George off of Frank.
Yeah.
And then Frank and Martha escape together, and she takes Frank to the hidden armory of Jethro Prufrock. Because of course, like, he's nothing if not prepared.
Right.
He's like, I need more firepower. Like, I shot him point blank with a Beretta. It did nothing. I've shot him with an assault weapon. It did nothing. I need like a bazooka, which they have, and she provides him.
Okay, to be fair, Frank also had one in the van.
He did have one in the van, but we also have one in the basement. So she gets
Might as well use theirs.
Exactly. I don't want to waste my bazooka on like this lame annual story. So Frank then fires the bazooka at George. George is blasted out of the estate and into the adjoining river, where he seemingly is left for dead.
Oh no! And Martha's like, hey, what are you doing later?
Right.
You seem...
No, she actually also has a break with reality because she's
okay.
like, I want to see my father. And he's like, all right, well, I'm not going to send you there, but why don't we go check out your dad together? We'll just look at his dead corpse on the floor of your living room right now.
This is a good call, Frank.
But
Frank's like, yeah, corpses, I like that.
yeah, George descends into the water while Frank just like watches him go and is like, well, Even George wouldn't have survived that.
He's like, well, I pretty much wrapped this up. I'm not going to follow up on that. And
Nope.
I made sure this girl gets to mourn her father. I'm pretty great, actually.
To be fair, Frank doesn't bury the bodies.
No.
He kills them. He's like, is it dead? Cool.
Get back to the van.
But you don't know if it's dead. You assume it's
He
dead.
hit it with a bazooka and it sank into a lake.
I'm just saying, he literally watched it regrow.
I know.
This isn't Jason Voorhees.
And like
I
Wolverine.
mean, more or less is. It's 1990. They're like, we're thinking slasher movies.
But like Wolverine exists in this world.
What a great connection that would have been to have Wolverine in this book. So Martha is like, I never loved my brother George. He sucked anyway, so I'm going to go to my dad. Then she goes to her father. She weeps over his corpse and says, I will carry on your legacy. I guess then, like, Martha Prufrock will inherit the estate.
I'm sorry, does then Frank Castle hear that and just blow her brains out?
No, he's like, well, she hasn't done anything yet. I only do it when I have probable cause.
He's like, this isn't precog.
Yeah.
She just said, I'm going to carry out your legacy
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
of crime.
No, it's not his crime because, Prufrock was a presidential candidate who was prepared for the apocalypse. She is going to seemingly run for president. I don't know if they ever really follow up with that story of Martha Prufrock running for president as like a third-party candidate, but I digress. So then Frank gets into his van and he leaves, and that's the end of that story.
I'm just saying, Namor in a suit. Hello.
I know. Yeah, that was the Byrne era for Namor, where Namor's like a business owner, and he spends a lot of time on land, and he dresses snappy, and it's a neat period for Namor.
Good for him.
It was actually one of the longest ever for the character.
I'm going to make Sue love me.
Sue doesn't really factor in. So, then we move on to Daredevil.
Sue's not a factor here.
No. So, we move on to Daredevil. It's called the issue is called Predator. It is written by Gregory Wright with art by Cam Kennedy. So the good people at Daredevil did not know that Prufrock's mask melted into his skin, or his skin grew around the mask. So in Daredevil, Prufrock, the life form, has emerged from the river now at Hell's Kitchen, and he's still wearing the mask, but the mask is now, he's wearing it over his horrible, grotesque face.
Okay, all right, hang on. Maybe.
He took the mask off or something.
Well, no, in the water, it like soothed the swelling a little bit.
No, but the mask was definitely like he grew his horrible face through the mask. Like that mask was tattered and destroyed. Now it's completely uniform and
maybe he
whole
found
again.
a new one.
Yeah, he
Sure.
found another one in the water. In the sewers of New York, it's possible.
That's where people throw their dirty sex things. So,
like alligators.
yeah. Meanwhile, this story
Just
is
sexy alligators everywhere.
Yeah, wearing their gimp masks, getting into trysts and whatnot. So Ben Urich, the of course intrepid reporter for
It's a
the Daily
menage
Bugle.
a croc.
Well done. Ben Urich, the intrepid reporter for the Daily Bugle, is writing the story. He's the reporter for the Daily Bugle.
lucky
He's like a
him.
hardened, ace reporter. He has heard the rumor about the pro-gamma break-in and the secret deadly virus and its connection to Prufrock, Jethro Prufrock. Like, the whole cat's out of the bag because we don't have to worry about the Prufrocks anymore because they're dead. Except for Martha, but she doesn't factor in anymore because she has to, build up her empire now. So we
Right, she
know,
needs Unblings.
yeah, we know that Jethro Prufrock commissioned a virus for AIM to make, and it got out, infected his son, and is now on the loose as the life form, or at least that's the rumor.
Okay.
So meanwhile, Matt is doing his Daredevil thing while George is being the life form. Here's his newest incarnation of the life form. He is still bipedal. He seems to have appendages and whatnot, but also needs flesh in order to keep himself whole. Or at least he thinks that. It's not really that explicit about how the life form thing
It could be a hallucination.
It could be a hallucination. Like, I think I need to feast on human flesh in order to keep myself together, but maybe I actually don't, and I'm just a horrible murderer.
It worked for Venom. He's got to eat brains.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat your brain.
Yeah,
Just try going through a drive-through, man.
Yeah, he's got to get to that window, though. And they're going to be like, ah! So, anyway, he's eating people now, and he's just, roaming the alleyways, just killing people.
He's got, a plan.
He's got a plan.
And Punisher's like...
And Punisher ain't here no more. He's like, I killed him. I don't kill twice.
What the hell is Daredevil supposed to do about this?
He fights him a little bit. It's pretty lame.
And then feel bad about it.
Yeah. Well, of course. That's what Matt does. Matt does two things well. Well, no, three. But the two you see in this book are fighting and feeling bad for himself. The three Fs.
Exactly.
So Matt hears a person being killed
Well,
by...
he certainly doesn't see him.
No, he doesn't. But I'm saying, with his radar senses, he hears a man's flesh being consumed by Prufrock.
And he's like, I know that sound. That's human flesh that's being eaten.
That's
Yeah.
that's like one of many sounds
That he doesn't need.
I never
no
want to
one
hear.
wants.
Like,
But George does remove the mask so it can be evidence that can be claimed later and used to analyze and discover that, like, that's the virus. And stuff.
I mean, apparently it's hard to eat through that mask, even though it has the little zipper.
Well, that's what's so funny is that he ends up, he eats the guy, then takes the mask off. So he definitely unzips the mask. It's not like he takes the mask off and then eats the guy.
he's like, this is so hard.
Yeah.
If the hole was bigger, this would be easier.
Right? Oh, you should also know that he smells really bad. Because it is such a horrible, wretched stench that Matt can identify who it is from it.
Which river
Wait,
did he
who
fall
it
in?
is?
Oh, the East River, obviously.
Okay.
What?
Oh, just the fact that it's like an
You should know-
identifiable human being.
No. Matt knows and can identify George Prufrock, the Lifeform, from his horrible stench.
Yeah.
And I guess that's because he was in the river and that he's rotting? Is he rotting?
He is rotting / transforming, and it's a horrible smelling process. It really has very little to do with the East River, because I think Matt would know what the river smells like.
But, like, he was shot multiple times in the chest with a regular gun and a bazooka.
Yeah.
So maybe those wounds have, like, festered
Absolutely.
and went in the river.
Yep. So.
I mean, definitely crabs tried to eat him.
I-
Chance they
Yeah,
did.
there should be crabs falling off him and stuff.
I
Kind of gross. I love that.
love the fact that this story so far has been like, this guy, screw this guy.
George Prufrock is gonna get his. Whoever that guy is. Like, what? So Ben Urich is interviewing Lamar Quiot, who is a scientist who worked in Progamma, and he saw the whole thing happen, but also wasn't in the Punisher book. But let's retcon that he was.
He's like, so I was, I'd be dead.
Yes. So Lamar is there, and he is basically willing to give the whole store away to Ben Urich. I guess just to clear the air, but also Lamar wants to find George, because I believe Lamar also wants to study Prufrock, because Lamar was also working on the virus itself.
Well, I mean,
Right.
it is a new life form.
That's true. And it is birthed from the virus that I guess I helped make and bring into this world.
Or something like that, who cares?
Yes. So
I guess you could just make the virus again and throw it on a rat or something.
yeah, or another guy. But just don't let him leave this time. So, of course, the more flesh that Prufrock consumes, the more human he starts to become.
Oh, so it's actually doing
Oh.
something.
It never changes his form from being gross and terrible, but he can also form words now. Like, he can talk and stuff.
He could
like,
talk- oh, I guess
Like,
it's
like
just-
now he can say out loud that being this way hurts horribly. Just reiterating, I need flesh to survive, and this hurts really bad. So also, during this period, specifically in Daredevil, there is a gang called the Wild Boys, and there are a couple of Wild Boys in the alley. They're
A couple of wild boys on this couch.
That's true. But please, no gang signs. Lifeform attacks, and they're like, ah! And then Matt shows up, and, Daredevil, like, helps.
I love that a gang is going to try and go up against this thing.
These guys, they must be tweaking, because they are like, oh man, look at this guy. He's all gross. Let's get him. Let's shake him down. Like, well, dude, like, look at him. Like, he may be gross looking, but he also has, like, rippling muscles. Like, he would crush you.
He's huge.
Leave him alone.
You know the Hulk exists.
Oh, I know. No, like, they whip knives into his face. And Lifeform just pulls them out, and they're like, uh-oh.
Well, we might have made a mistake.
Yeah. So they try to shoot him. It doesn't work. Daredevil springs into action. Daredevil fights, or at least keeps Lifeform at bay and allows the Wild Boys to escape.
Yes.
It is now that Lifeform sees Daredevil that those hallucinations start to kick in.
Okay.
But it's not a hallucination so much as he just sees Daredevil as a devil / demon.
Sure, of course. It writes itself.
Yeah.
You're just going to gloss over the fact that George Prufrock in this version of himself has like serious cake going on there.
Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that glorious butt.
I mean,
Right?
If at least he got something good out of it, right?
No, yeah, exactly.
He definitely did not have that before.
No.
I'm just saying, there's just no way.
No.
To be fair, his cake has cake, because on
Yeah.
the next page, it's
It's a double cake?
Yeah, there's like another
Ooh,
cake on
there's
top
like
of it.
extra cake. There's like a mini cake.
Yeah.
It's like a cupcake.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's got like vines coming off of him.
Yeah, just
Yeah, they're like just being like, all right, so it's just a swamp thing.
it's man thing.
This man thing, it's swamp thing. It's.
Yeah, but instead of being made of like swamp, he's made of man.
He's man.
He's made out of other men.
Yes. So like Matt's just kind of dealing with him. He knows who he is because he smells horrible. But then
Some guy blows his arm off with a gun.
yeah.
There's like some really decent art in here.
Oh, yeah.
But then like this.
So we end up meeting a couple of cops who were invented for the story, whose names are Robbins and Hobbs. And Robbins and Hobbs hate superheroes, and they resent their influence on their beat. So they make fun of Daredevil, and they give him a hard time, and they end up bumping into the Wild Boys who are escaping from Lifeform.
Right.
And, they're like, there's a thing out there, Daredevil! I'm like, well, I won't drag my feet going over there. So they end up going over there, but when they bring their car around, the light scares George away, and Proof
Obviously,
away.
because the car had been moved, and
Of
so that
course.
frightened him.
Yeah, because it reminded him of home. But
Well, wait, if I'm me, who moved the car?
Exactly. George runs off, leaving Daredevil with Hobbs and
And a left behind
Robbins?
arm.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, one of the Wild Boys blows George's arm off. This is to show that like he can regrow them or.
And George is like, guys, listen, I didn't ask for this.
Well, yeah, but I
mean-
also can't like communicate it to you, so it's just I'm just a big monster in the alley eating people.
I mean, unless he eats more people, in which case then he can become eloquent again.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true, but only slightly. Like he doesn't really get into it.
Well, he's not eating the right people. He's got to eat some people with a higher IQ.
Well, he needs to be in a Hulk book for him to do that. So, of course, he does. Meanwhile, one of the cops sees, like, the husk that was Proof Rock's arm. It's, like, melting. Like, now that it's separated from the life form, it starts to, like, decompose. And so the cop, like, picks up pieces of it, and he's like, no, what's this? And Matt's like, leave it alone! What are you doing, man? Don't touch that! And he's like,
gloves on.
Right, he's like, yeah. Spoilers, he gets the virus and just dies in the hospital.
he deserves
He
that.
asked for it!
He asked for that 100%.
Yeah, no, he
you
does
saw, you're first of all, you're at a crime scene.
Right. Like, what are you doing touching
You're not supposed to touch the evidence. Second of all, that thing is clearly, there's something
There's
up with
something
it.
wrong with it.
Whether it be
Disease
mysterious
or-
virus or acid or anything else.
Right.
Just don't touch it.
Don't touch
All right,
it.
so this cop like smokes 2 packs a day.
Yeah.
He can't smell the terrible stench coming off.
No,
of it.
yeah, that's right.
But you can see it.
Yeah, you could at least,
It's
and you could
doing
feel it like
things.
tingling on your hands.
No.
But, so
you get a
Matt's like-
stick. That's
yeah.
that's the bare minimum.
That's the
You get a stick.
absolute
You go.
limit.
What if you pick it up and it like dissolves in your fingers, but it's like the softest, most enjoyable, effervescent sensation ever?
He doesn't seem to love it. He's just kind of like looking at it because he's just bored.
You don't know that before you've picked it up.
Exactly. So
No.
Daredevil's like, yo, don't touch it. Call a lab. Get this thing like looked
That
at.
guy's like,
Right, yeah, like, oh, it's gonna taste gross too. So anyway, they're like, yeah, your wish is our command, Daredevil. And then Daredevil leaves, and they're like, I guess we probably should do that though. I'm like, yeah, okay.
he's like,
So,
I guess we should do our job.
right, Matt Murdock goes to visit Ben Urich, and he's like, hey, have you heard anything on the streets about this crazy shit? And Urich's like, yeah, actually I did, because there's a scientist who works at the Programma company, and he gave me the whole lowdown. And Matt's like, cool, that's
are they
horrible.
like friends?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
okay.
they're not quite friendly, but
They're
Urich
not friends.
Urich knows that Matt is Daredevil and keeps the secret to himself. So, like, in that regard, they are friends, but they have, like, a hostile working environment. Because, like, Urich exploits the crimes for profit by selling the story to the Daily Bugle, and Matt's like, nah.
Is Ben Urich like the greatest reporter in the Marvel universe?
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
Urich gives Matt, like, a two-way communicator. Basically, like, hit this button and I'll be there in 3 minutes. Like, no problem. And Matt's like, all right, well, I won't because, like, I don't want you to get killed by this thing. And so then we go to the lab where one of the cops, Hobbs, is like, hey, have you analyzed the arm thing that we recovered from the crime scene, babe? You know, he's flirting with her and, like, giving her a hard time because, you know, she's a woman in a position of any kind of authority, so he needs to diminish her.
How dare she become educated and then achieve a job?
Yeah, exactly. So he's giving her a hard time and
That's
kind
a
of like,
job she took from a man.
right? And she's like, yeah, well, oh yes. So he's like, so how'd it go? And she's like, well, Robbins started babbling about demons from the netherworld before he was admitted to a hospital and died. And I was like, oh.
Am I gonna die?
Right? Well, you didn't touch it, so no.
But I was around it.
but only just slightly. So Matt's like swinging around the city, just like smelling for him, and eventually he finds him, and Prufrock is gonna eat somebody or a couple of somebody's, some children actually, and
He's like, wait, they're young.
right, but Matt knows that this is a guy. That's the thing. Is like from what he learned from Yurik is like this is a person. There's a guy in there, and so he's like, oh no, we gotta save him. So Matt he stops Prufrock from eating the children, but then is like, hey, whoa! And so he's trying to keep him like subdued through words, like I'm not attacking you, I'm your friend, all that stuff. Meanwhile,
Also, maybe don't touch him.
yeah. So Yurik and Lamar end up getting into a cab, and they are tracking Prufrock as well because Lamar, of course, wants Prufrock for study, and Yurik wants the story because this is now like a whole sprawling epic that I can sell to J. Jonah Jameson. So they are all converging on this location because, of course, also Hobbs wants justice for Robbins, who has been killed inadvertently by Prufrock. So all roads converge.
But what about the Wild Boys?
The Wild Boys no longer a factor in that, unfortunately. So yeah, they're not like, oh, we tried to kill him and we couldn't do it, so now we're gonna get in there too. It's just like, well, I guarantee you the Wild Boys would have been there too, but we just didn't have enough pages.
Right.
They're gonna turn their life around and become the Mild Boys.
So the cops show up first and they're like, Daredevil, screw off. The cop's dead. We want justice. And Matt's like, it's not justice. You're murdering this guy. He's a guy in there. Well, he's not in control of his actions, all this stuff. So then so then Lamar shows up and he fires tranquilizers at Prufrock. They have no real effect. But for his trouble, he is also attacked by Prufrock.
It looks like he's giving a big hug.
Yeah. He's just like, yeah, come here. Yeah.
Bring it in, man.
Bring it in, Lamar. I know you from
And then he just
your work.
absorbs him.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it's always good to see a colleague.
Right, he does and he attacks him, but then the cops just open fire on Prufrock, and he just kind of melts into the street. He's like, oh, but before he dies, he says, Red Horn tried. Like, oh, I absolve you, Daredevil, of your sins. You don't have to feel bad about this. Bye. And so he dies, and they're like, well, all's well that ends well. And Daredevil's like, what the crap was that?
Ends well. People were eaten.
Yeah, well, and that's a shame, but at least the guy who ate them is dead. And then we see like Yurik typing up the story in like a kind of hard-boiled noirish way. And meanwhile, we see that some of Prufrock is like gooping over here and bubbling up like, oh, now it's another one of Prufrock's powers is he can like die or deconstitute and then reconstitute someplace else.
Was this before the symbiote suit?
No. The symbiote suit was invented in 1984.
Okay.
So...
I really like the coloring on this page.
It's not bad.
No, like I just like. I'm sure it was either a mistake or intentional.
No, that's how it's shaded.
Yeah, but I like the not like black color for Daredevil's like shadows. It's
Yeah.
just really cool effect, especially against that blue. I just like that palette.
Right.
I'm like into it.
When they say that the cop died, they leave out that there's an entire adventure of them becoming a monster and then dying.
Yeah.
But
Oh my god.
does.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a huge body horror story.
Wow.
But also has no relevance to George's story.
Oh, but he's definitely having
The
the
hallucinations.
hallucinations, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Also, everyone feels like they're having hallucinations when they see him.
This is
Right.
like this is more of like
It's
a
more
Vertigo
interesting.
book.
Yeah. Well,
Like this little story here.
Well, Marvel's also like reacting to DC doing like more hard-boiled, like adult-oriented stories.
You're taking me, demon spawns. Go back to
it's
Satan.
terrifying.
Yeah. That's the other thing is that also like seemingly Lamar also was infected in some way because Lamar was also having hallucinations that were biblical themed.
Oh, interesting.
Incidentally, they were only referenced in the Daredevil story.
Yo! They like left a thing here.
Right, like a piece of the life form. So like maybe
Maybe the bartender could become it.
the bartender could become the life form, or George could come back because they don't kill George.
He dies like this cop dies pretty horrifically.
It's pretty bad. All because he picked up a piece and acted like a jerk to Daredevil. All's well that ends well. So then we get to the Quality of Mercy, which is the Hulk portion of the Lifeform chapter, which is, of course, written by Peter David with art by Angel Medina and Larry Milstead. I'm sorry, Larry. So this also has some of my favorite art in the book. The story opens with Prufrock, and he is sitting in a chair addressing the reader.
What?
And he's like, hi, I'm George Prufrock, and
I'm sorry.
I got a story to tell you.
And I'm sorry I'm ruining your Hulk book.
Right. Yeah. Like, they
You
told
probably
me...
want to skip this and just pick up whatever issue's next.
Right, Tom told me that I had to be part of some stupid arc, and now I'm here, so sorry about this. Which is a Peter David convention. Peter David loves to have characters pull up a chair in a darkened room with one lone spotlight on them and address the reader. But anyway, so we retcon in that George Prufrock, among other things, also really wanted to be an actor. So he did, and he failed, and that's that. Meanwhile, the Hulk is gray, and also he can only turn into the Hulk at nighttime, like a werewolf.
So everyone thinks he's Prufrock?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. That is what you think, but that's what a hack would do. Peter David ain't no hack. Peter David's like, what is the idea? There's a big hulking monster, and he's going to be in my Hulk book. We could do Mistaken Identity, but instead, how about we have a showdown in the mindscape in an old abandoned theater?
I'm sorry, in the mindscape?
Kind of. So.
I was going to say, the beginning narration works because, like, we've seen Bruce Banner do this, where he's trapped inside the Hulk.
Right.
But he's talking.
Yeah, no, but Prufrock is physically here, though. Because he's pointed at us, he's breaking the fourth wall. So he is telling a story about, like, how I became the Lifeform and I fought the Hulk, and so here's my story. And so Grey Hulk is just kind of kicking it in the desert, and he's pretty pissed because he's lost a lot of his stuff. Like, he used to be Mr. Fix-It, and he used to have a job, and now he's just the Hulk again. Oh, man, my whole life is cyclical, this sucks. So he sees...
It's almost like there's some, like, omnipotent creator who won't allow me to progress and move on.
That's what Peter David's saying. And so there is a military attaché, like, going out into the desert, and Hulk immediately is like, they will never leave me alone. So he shows up, and he yells at everybody, smashes a couple tanks, and then one of the field commanders goes, what the crap is your problem, Hulk? And Hulk's like, and he's like, dude!
Whoa, I didn't sign up for this.
We were doing a training exercise. We didn't know you were here. You broke like $80 million worth of equipment. You're gonna pay for that? And the Hulk's like, I'm so sorry. And then he leaves.
He crops dusts him on the way out.
Exactly. But like the Hulk realizes, maybe I'm the asshole here.
Am I the problem?
Right.
No. It's everyone else.
Like this guy is so pissed, he like throws his helmet on the ground in a cartoonish display of anger.
Oh,
and
like he's angry at the Empire.
Yeah, and then he angrily punches the Hulk in the face and hurts his hand and then realizes, oh my god, I punched the Hulk. Wait a minute, what is my problem?
I'm about to be cream.
Yeah, and the Hulk, so he prays to himself and then the Hulk leaves. And Hulk's like, So meanwhile, in the city.
Meanwhile, Hulk's trying to find a big computer and like trying to post to Reddit r/am I the asshole.
Yeah, exactly. I attacked a military attaché today because I assumed that they were going to be looking for me because normally they are, and turns out they weren't, and I read the riot act. But anyway, so while this is happening, a homeless person is drinking in the street and is lamenting the mistakes they made in their life and is musing about how they don't deserve to live and they don't want to live anymore.
Okay.
So then Mercy shows up.
I will grant you the death of not wanting to live anymore.
Yeah, so Mercy's like, okay, and so she pushes this person in front of a moving truck, and they are murdered.
You're just saying that like I should know who this is.
Yeah, because that's what Peter David expects you to think. Because I had this growing up.
What?
Yep, when I started reading this, I'm like,
You're such
I had this!
You said that you'd never seen this before, and that this was my fault.
When I was a small child, I had this isolated issue among a random collection that I got from some adult person who was getting rid of their collection.
And to be fair, the first issue doesn't look anything like this.
None of this has, I was like, I didn't even know it was related in any way. I had no idea about the Lifeform thing. And so I was like, oh my god, I remember this, and now I have context for everything, even though I don't really need it because this is a kind of a standalone story.
Also, I don't want it because it sucks.
Yeah, but Mercy is maybe a human being who got powers, or not, because no one ever bothered to really flesh out her origin, but she did appear in a later Thunderbolt story, and now she's in hell.
I mean, she does
don't
have
worry about
hair
her.
and sparkles.
Yeah, she's fun. She's just the kind of character that Peter David would invent. Where she's kind of like Starfire. Like, she's like, I'm here and I'm simple and I like take things literally and I'm also like, you know, I have the mind of a child, but I'm also sexual. Ho ho! And you're like, okay. So she kills this person, just pushes them in front of a truck and they get run over. And then another homeless person's like, what the hell are you doing? And she's like, I read their mind, and they said they wanted to die. She's like, people say that all the time. They don't always mean it. And she's like, oh, people are weird.
Wait, I thought she was a person.
She doesn't think she's a person. And we don't know necessarily if she is a person or not. Some have argued that she was a person first. She does have a human name, but she goes by Mercy right now. This is the context you get in a Hulk book. There's no context page. There's no backup that explains who Mercy is. It's just, here's Mercy. She seems to be this like magical pixie woman who's killing people because she's crazy.
And because they want to die.
And she's like, they said they wanted to die, and so I gave it to them.
There will be a life form in this book, won't there?
Of course. No, we need that. So,
Tiffany, we have lots of life forms right here.
right? So,
It's not the ones you're looking for.
Oh.
the other homeless woman like gives Mercy the riot act and explains like the subtle nuances of human hyperbole. Now, not really. She basically says sometimes people say what they mean and other times they don't. She's like, that's confusing, and then she leaves.
I just assume Mercy would be like, that's nice, opens the sewer manhole cover and just throws the old woman in there.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, was Daredevil in this book for a hot second?
Yeah, well, Peter David's like, well, I got to connect it in some way. So, Daredevil is talking to Urich, even though he didn't in the previous story. And, they explained that it's actually kind of
On
like
the street
a
where
retcon,
people can hear us?
because the last page of Daredevil is Urich writing the story.
Yes.
This is the Lamar character being carted off by an ambulance before Urich left to write the story.
Oh, okay.
So it does fit. So anyway, Hulk wanders off into the middle of the desert and finds an old theater in the middle of nowhere. And so
Who built this place? Who went to it?
it's abandoned, so it doesn't matter. And it's like, is it real? Is it a figment of his imagination? Is it a conjuring from Mercy? Like, let's assume it's real because people interact with it. So Hulk finds this like random theater and he's like, I guess I'll just dick around in the theater for a little while. Like goes onto the stage, like bows before an invisible audience and just like hangs out. Meanwhile, in like the future, I guess, Proofrock is like, he's a regular guy. Like he looks like Proofrock, and then he starts to life form out. Like, he's starting to like wither and change. And somebody comes out like, hey, what are you doing here, man? Why are you talking to the audience? And he's like, oh, excuse me for a second. Walks off stage. Hey, get away from me! And then he's like, okay, I'm back. And he's like gnawing on an arm. You're like, yeah, Peter David, you got this. But then it's not holding, it's not staying. And so he's like starting to decompose and become life formed out.
He's like, I have to eat more and more people in order to stay
Yep.
a person.
Just explains his origin, like he deepens the story that was told by Punisher. Like, I had a dad, I worshipped him, he was a jerk, he was also like a political, candidate for presidency. Like he also had political aspirations. He got me a job at AIM and then made a deal with AIM to make this virus and then made me into a monster, and then I fought Daredevil, and so now I'm like this. Now I'm this horrible monster. And while he was leaving the Daredevil book, he bumped into Mercy. And Mercy's like, oh ho! And he's like, kill me. And she's like, normally I would, but a homeless lady just explained to me that you don't always say what you mean, so I won't kill you. And he's like, that's...
No, but I mean it,
but I mean it this
please.
time. She's like, I don't know. And then the Lifeform personality that's starting to emerge from his body is like, no, don't kill me. And she's like, okay, well now I know you are of two minds about this and I won't kill you, okay. And Proofrock's like, no, it's taking over, please kill me now. And it's like, no, this is too confusing.
So there is a life form now?
Yeah, now they're like the Lifeform is like another personality within
So what we need to do is we need to get this idea over to Ben Percy, and what he can decide is that this virus that they actually made, they used like supernatural or like metaphysical like elements to it, and it's actually like a mini version of a spirit of vengeance, but as a virus. And so that's why it's all like biblical based, like the hallucinations that people are having, and that like the personality that is taking over in the life form is
like a demon.
Yeah.
Where it's tapping into like some latent demon within the hell realm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good pitch.
God damn it, Mercy.
Yeah, so Mercy's like, wait, I know a character who's big and has two personalities and one wants to die. He'll help you. So she teleports him away and then brings him to the Hulk,
who is playing Quasimodo?
Who is performing a one-man show for nobody at this theater. And making Young Frankenstein references as well.
Just, oh my God, that's incredible. He's just like, much like Frank, I have a clear schedule today.
Yeah, I got nothing going on. So Mercy shows up.
Rampage, lunch, Rampage,
Yeah, so it's pretty open. So Hulk's like, oh, geez, Mercy's here. Mercy's like, hey, here's this horrible monster, and he wants to talk to you. And the monster attacks Hulk, and Hulk's like, okay. And
He's like, behold this buffet.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing is that, like, she's explaining, like, oh, he's two people, he's sad, one wants to die, blah, 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 blah. I thought you might be able to explain that. And Hulk's like, I don't have any compulsions about it. Like, I'm happy being the Hulk. Like, I like this. The problem you have is with Banner. You want to talk to Banner, and you can't have him because I don't want him out. And so she's like, okay, well, I think you all need to have a conversation. And so then she transforms Prufrock into goop, which then goes into Hulk's mouth, and then Hulk, like, passes out. And you see, like...
Is she like a Mixel Splitnik for Hulk?
Yes. She's definitely some kind of, like, a mixy character for Hulk.
Yeah, because that's insane.
Yeah, it's just... She's like, I don't know. I'm an Agent of Chaos. Here we go. So...
She's a Chaos Goblin.
She is. That's why she's
We
in
have
this
3
book.
on the count.
Chaos!
Yep.
Ah! Get him, Ben. Get him from the side. Oh, okay.
So Lamar's back at the hospital. He's turning into a life form as well. And he
He's becoming a
explains
monster.
that when they were developing the virus, they were, like, testing it on monkeys, and a monkey had the virus. The monkey bit me, and now I have the virus, and that's where it came from. And so anyway, that's all the story I have to share with you. Ben, you'll tell the story, and Ben's like, yep, and then he dies.
Tell my story.
So that's Outbreak.
Yeah, exactly. But he's also dead. So then Bruce Banner wakes up on the stage, and then Hulk wakes up next to him, and they're both like, ah! And then the life form is also there, and he's like, ho, I gotta kill both of you.
Wait, but shouldn't the other guy be there then too?
Yeah.
George?
Yeah, but he's not. But he is able to talk, and Hulk's able to understand him, so maybe George is talking through the life form.
Okay.
Because remember, they're not physically here.
Right, I know. It's
Yeah,
Unless
but
they
remember,
are.
it's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna become Smashronauts or whatever.
Hulk and Banner immediately start arguing. You're like an old married couple. Because they hate each other and they resent each other, and they don't want, one doesn't like the other. And meanwhile, like, Lifeform shows up, like, I want to eat both of you, and Hulk's like, shut up! I'm working through my shit. And Prufrock's like, oh, okay,
Sorry.
Oh, excuse me. And
Hulk's like, oh, I understand how that guy felt earlier.
yeah, exactly. So then, like, Banner and Hulk are talking. They're also trying to determine which one of them is real and which one of them is Mercy pretending to be them.
Oh, is that what they think?
Yes.
Is that what's actually happening?
Yes.
Oh.
Maybe.
But yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So then, while they're talking about which one needs to die in order for the other one to, like, truly live, Prufrock is like, no, it's me! And they're like, we can't kill you until we figure this out. It basically resigns himself to being like, I know I'm real, so I'll kill you, Banner. And so Banner's like, whoa, but if you're wrong, then you're gonna kill yourself. Because if you do kill me, then you will destroy the body that makes into the Hulk. Like, that's,
Yeah.
you shouldn't do
Yeah,
that.
what now?
Right? And so then
You need me.
it devolves into a fight between Lifeform and Hulk, where they battle.
Because Lifeform keeps interrupting?
Yes. And, like, I need to eat, I need food. And so they fight for a while, and while they're battling, Banner gets caught in the crossfire and thrown by Lifeform into the light system over the stage, and he's electrocuted. And Hulk's like, oh my god. Like,
I'm free.
No. He's like, you killed him. And so he attacks Lifeform. Like, Hulk
That was
realizes,
what I was supposed to be doing.
well, I thought I wanted to do that, but, like, now that I have Banner's dead body, turns out, like,
I loved him.
I loved him. And so you're like, oh, that's too bad. And so,
Well, it's very dramatic. I imagine someone's going to clap from the audience.
no, it's funny. He puts him down and attacks Lifeform, and then knocks Lifeform into some more electronics, and Lifeform catches into fire, and he's just like, ah! And then Banner wakes up, and he's like, hey, like, good for you, Hulk. Like, you learned a valuable lesson. And Hulk's like, oh, Banner, you're still alive. He's like, yeah, but I can't move. Help me up. And then all the flaming scaffolding, like, falls onto Banner, and that definitely kills him. And he's like, huh, I may have just watched myself die. What a weird day I've had. So he leaves. The entire theater erupts into flames, and it burns down. And then he just waits. Like, he waits for daylight to see if he changes back to Banner or if he just disappears and never exists. Then Mercy shows up, and she's like, ha, I was Banner. You're real. Anyway, bye. And so
Did you learn anything?
Right. And he's like, not really. And then she leaves, and then the sun comes up, and he becomes Banner.
Wait, were they in the mindscape or not?
Well, my assumption is that Mercy teleported Lifeform from either the mindscape or physically where Hulk and Banner were in the theater or whatever, but back to New York so that Lifeform could find Lamar and then eat him. Before Lamar dies.
Right.
At least he's cleaning up his own mess.
That's right.
So the theater did burn down.
Yes.
So there was no mindscape?
No. Or there was. Like, the theater was there, but, like, was there a Banner and a Hulk physically? Was Mercy pretending to be Banner? Or was it, like, a vision that Hulk had?
Oh, we cloned Banner.
Right.
And now he's there.
But
if he dies, like, you're still Bruce Banner too, Hulk.
Right. But the thing is, like, Mercy was able to approximate Banner's memories and stuff, so you could respond to him like it was actually Banner.
Right.
Oh, so she's way OP.
Yeah. She needed to be taken off the stage immediately. So then that's that. That's so, Lifeform eats Lamar. And you're like, whoa. Remember, like, I'll never forget that last panel of him just, like, grabbing Lamar's hand and being like, you're welcome. He's like, thank you for killing me. He's like, you're welcome.
Maybe you could kill me first before you start eating my appendages?
Nah, it's better when you're alive. He's a human longer in the chair in the beginning of the story than at any other point when he's consuming people, and he only eats like one or two guys after he's already starting to transform again. So I assume that Mercy turned him into a regular guy, and that actually what was going on in the like darkened room in the one-man play that George was running. George was actually sitting in the hospital room talking to Lamar.
Oh,
that's good.
Oh.
So he's been eating like orderlies and stuff like that at the hospital.
Hey, you can't be here. Visiting hours are over.
Right?
Crunch.
Yep. So I'm going to wrap up with part 4 of Silver Surfer Annual, Lifeform Termination by Jim Starlin and Ron Mars, with art by Ron Lim and Tom Christopher. Silver Surfer's on Earth, and he hates it here, because this is the site of like all the most annoying adventures I've been on, and I really don't want to deal with it.
And I hate those Fantastic Four.
Well, no, he doesn't hate them. He hates being confined to one space. And Earth is also like where Doctor Doom is. Doctor Doom is always like trying to knock me off the board and take my power. Also, in a previous story, Surfer saw Thanos die, which of course was fake, and he will see Thanos die again in Silver Surfer 50, which is not too long after this, and then of course that will dovetail directly into Infinity Gauntlet, but never mind that. For right now, Surfer thinks Thanos is dead. So he goes to Avengers Mansion, and only Captain America's there, and he's like, just wanted to let you know, to update your files, Thanos is dead, I saw it happen. And Cap's like, sure.
Weird.
Okay, that is worse. Somewhat.
This version of Lifeform?
Yeah. Like he's going backward to this.
Yeah.
Like we were going into more of a Swamp Thing Man thing.
Yes.
Which was not
pretty neat.
Yeah, it was neat.
Then with Hulk, it was like he became a kind of distinct blob monster.
Yeah, he had a very he had a distinct look.
Yep.
But it was still like much more like goopy and yeah. And now we're like let's bring it back.
Well, I think he's getting more flesh colored because of all the flesh he's been eating.
Oh.
One of the attendees at the hospital's like, hey, get away from that guy! Like, he's contagious. And, of course, Lifeform's like, don't worry about it, I took care of it. I guess that's, like, their way of, like, having no other life forms and not having, like, an outbreak.
Right.
To keep this confined to only 4 stories.
Except that Daredevil is saying that, no, there is, in fact, a little piece of him out there.
Oh, yeah, no, there definitely is a piece.
This picks up immediately after Lamar.
Yes.
Like, he just got
ate
done
Lamar, and then a guy's like, hey, I heard some bones crunching in there. So...
Hey, what are you eating in there?
And then it gets...
Nothing.
And then it just turns into Akira, where Lifeform grabs that guy, and he's like, oh, no! And he eats him, and... you see, like, in the hospital, people, like, are hearing this dude screaming for his life.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, an arm made of fleshy goop, like, blasts the door across the room, crushes a person and eats them. And now he's just becoming a big amorphous blob full of faces and mouths.
This is disturbing.
Wow.
Yes. So, Mr. Fantastic is hanging out...
Mercy, where are you?
Right?
Oh, I don't believe you want to die.
So, Mr. Fantastic gets a call on his special phone that I assume only the members of the Fantastic Four know the number for, and it's Nick Fury. And Nick Fury's like, hey, Stretcho, I need you to deal with, like, a big, crazy monster happening at the hospital across town. And Mr. Fantastic's like, okay, but don't ever use this channel again. And Fury's like, sure. So Cap closes the file on Thanos and sends Silver Surfer on his way. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, an old woman is walking her dog, and the Lifeform knocks the wall out and crushes the dog. 2 dogs die in Lifeform.
Why?
Right?
Just why?
So now, Proof Rock Lifeform is just rolling like a critter ball down 5th Avenue. Just eating people and crushing cars like a big, horrible Katamari ball. And so Mr. Fantastic flies the Fantastic car towards the Screams when he bumps into Silver Surfer. Silver's like, hey, don't get attached. I'm trying to leave. And Reed's
Why
like,
don't you just leave? You have a freaking...
because that is...
Just leave!
Because that's the Silver Surfer all over. Hey, I'm going!
Okay.
I'm leaving!
There's the door.
Just want to let you know I'm going to get out of here.
Just leave.
No, I hate it here.
Okay.
It's so bad I want to go.
I do. I desperately need to go.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that big silver board of
I
yours
am going to ride it
and just
out of here.
point it on up.
Off I go.
Just leave.
Wait a minute. It looks like you need something.
I don't need anything.
My power cosmic.
Please just
it's
leave.
Such a curse.
No one wants you.
Shalabal.
Just leave.
Reed ends up finding a survivor of the Lifeform carnage, where she's just like, it tore through the hospital and started eating everyone. Like, everyone is dead. And Reed's like, whoa, why am I in this story? Like, this is really weird and gross.
What if?
This isn't for me.
Yeah.
The more people it eats, the more mouths it gets.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Where it's just like, it took them a while to gestate, but now they're all like becoming a part of me.
I assume it has to do with the fact that he ate Lamar, who was also infected.
Right, it added more infection to him. Who knows? They don't explain it.
Or it has because of the fact that maybe he had like a variant because he was bitten by a monkey who was infected.
Like Patient Zero?
Yeah, so like maybe it's like a different variation of it, and so when those two met, it's like...
Yeah.
So Lifeform gets the deadly Motaba virus.
And now it's double Lifeform. So, unfortunately for the world, I guess, Proof Rock ends up in the river, which has life in it.
You don't want to go there.
So it starts eating all the life forms in the river, adding to itself, like all the fish and algae and stuff. Meanwhile,
now we can breathe underwater.
Right, I guess. So it's just like rolling on the bottom of the sea, eating everything on its way into the ocean.
Oh, maybe it's gonna clean up our trash problem.
Right, it should, but like it's also it's actually causing our fishing industry to suffer because it's eating like everything that is alive under the surface.
It's the Hudson. Knock yourself out.
No, but then it goes into the ocean. Now it's in like the open ocean. So.
The sea turtles.
Yeah, I know. So Reed and Silver Surfer end up like asking some random guy like, which way did he go? That way. So they go over there and they can see it.
Can't you use the paracosmic?
Right, your cosmic awareness perhaps. But what happens is they go into the ocean.
Okay.
And they're like, oh shit, I can see it from here. Like I can see it from the surface. Like I can see it like bubbling up to the surface. Like that's how big it is. It's like it's breaching from the ocean.
It's like a small island.
Yeah,
that can't be good.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
So then it hungers because now it's like eating everything in the vicinity in the ocean, and it senses Silver Surfer and Reed Richards in the Fantastic Car, and so it reaches out and tries to eat them.
Who wrote this?
Ron Mars and Jim Starlin.
You guys are demented.
I know.
Well, they're like
their job is to get rid of the life form.
Yeah, but they're also. It feels like they're doing something from like they're like. Well, let's just treat it like it was something from Beyond the Stars.
Yeah, yeah. So,
excellent choice to dehumanize it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. Because watch this. So,
because in this one, it's like it's sad.
Oh yeah. Well, it's all kind of sad. I mean, it's like Daredevil, please help me, and he's like, I'll help you, and then the cops are like, you killed one of our cops. Blah 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 blah. So it smashes the Fantastic Car, and Silver Surfer has to recover Reed and brings him to dry land. And he's like, don't worry about this, Reed, I got this. And so you don't have to be in the book anymore. And he's like, thank God. So then Silver Surfer's like, I shall unleash the power cosmic. Like, oh, you're going to get
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, so he just blasts at Proof Rock and like just burns away all these like mouthy appendages.
Good, all right.
And then like out of like the stump, like a new appendage is like growing out of it. No.
Oh.
He's like, oh no, it's got remarkable regenerative powers, but
it's like a Hydra.
Right. So
new growth right there. It's like a tree.
Yeah. So Surfer's just blasting at it, and he realizes like I fired so much energy at it that like I could level a city and it's not dying. But if I use too much, I could actually like hurt.
I could level a city.
I could level a city. So.
But I hate this place.
So he stands there. No, he just doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So he stands there and just waits for it, and then it eventually just rolls over him.
Does Reed just leave? He's like.
Reed leaves.
This seems like a you thing.
This is beyond my pay grade. I gotta get out of here.
Oh, do I hear Sue?
Oh, no, actually I see her. She's right here. Goodbye. So then...
Can't stretch my way around this problem.
Nope. So it like rolls over Surfer, and then like the passerby, like the local gentry, are like, "I just ate the Silver Surfer. We're so screwed.
We should probably go.
We should leave." Ah! They run away, and then like, it's like more food, and then it like just starts glowing, and then it lifts off out of the water, out of the atmosphere into space, where it starts to like harden and freeze from the cold, atmosphereless, empty vacuum of space, and then Surfer brings it to a planetoid that's uninhabited and has no life on it, and just drops it there, and he's like, "This shall be your imprisonment."
Just throw it in the sun. You're already in space. You brought it to space,
right?
Throw it.
And he's like, "No, this thing, it subsists on life forms. I've put it on this lifeless planet where it will just die, probably, or exist." So
you don't know.
He's like, now.
He's like, I have a soft spot for things that hunger.
Right. But no, he's actually like angry about it because he's like,
Love you, Galactus.
He's like, the thing is, he's like, I brought it here so I can old yeller it. Like, now I can really unleash my power cosmic.
Oh, right, he was concerned about leveling a city.
Yeah, so
he's like, hang on.
Now you're going to get it.
He's like, hang on, I got the shed and everything. Can I see you back here for a second?
Exactly, come here for a second. So he's like, now you're going to get it. And he's like, whoop. And then Prufrock's face, like, appears before him. He's like, yes, kill me. And he's like, oh my God.
There's a person there. I can't kill you. He's like,
yeah.
Cool.
He's like, oh, you're a human in there? And he's like, yeah, my name is George Prufrock. I got a virus on me and a Punisher book. It's a long story. All that matters is the thing that has taken me over wants to eat everything, and it
hungers.
It hungers, and it needs to be stopped. It's horrible. I'm this now. Please, you got to kill me. And he's like, tell me how I can free you from the creature. He's like,
hey,
I am it.
Do you need a herald?
Right? Oh, yeah. Big gross
the herald of Lifeform.
No thanks.
How would George know?
Right. Well, because
he's an idiot.
Surfer doesn't know he's a moron. He just knows that he's a human in there. But he's like, because you can't free me from it. This is me. Like, all you can do is kill me. And he's like, well, you're an innocent man. I can't kill you. I'm not a murderer.
So I guess I'll just leave you here.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Rock's like, you can't. You don't get that. You can't. Don't do that.
You have to kill me. It would be a mercy.
Yep. So yeah, mercy, please.
I said it's a mercy.
Yeah, don't worry about Mercy. She's only a Peter David character. Nobody wants to deal with her.
Surfer's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So Surfer like walks off. Like he just walks away from me. He's like, no, please. He's like, I'm sorry, I can't. He's like, no, you gotta kill me. I can't be. I will never die. I'll just be here forever. And Surfer's like, it would be too cold-blooded of me to put you out of your misery. I have to leave you here. So then...
Okay, all right, let's be honest.
He's like, fuck this guy.
In this situation...
You are wrong.
Silver Surfer's
kill this guy.
Silver Surfer's kind of the asshole.
So Surfer's just hearing him...
I brought you to this desolate planetoid.
Yep, and you'll just...
you'll just exist and go mad.
Yeah, you'll always be a waking nightmare.
You're welcome.
Enjoy. So then he's just like, I gotta drown out the tormented screams of the wailing damned as I mount my board, and then I just take off, and like...
That's it!
And that's it. There he is, the abomination on the planet below. Just exists.
This is insane. This is unhinged.
So Prufrock's just been sitting there on this planetoid that's not far from Earth. Just been sitting there waiting.
This is going to be a new event, the Lifeform event.
Yeah.
And like, he'll land on Earth.
Right?
Someone's going to go to that planet.
Yeah. And Prufrock will be like, hey, come on. You know? Yeah.
And like somehow eat their ship or like use it to get back.
Right? So, that's it.
This is messed up.
I know.
Or they need to have something like that they need consumed show up. Wait, there's more? Oh,
There's just more.
This is like a horror movie where it's just like, it doesn't really end.
No, it never will.
You could use this as like, if there was something else that was there and they're like, if it was like a Galactus-esque threat coming that needed to be consumed of some sort, they're like,
oh, we'll hit Galactus with the Lifeform virus.
Yeah, or like Silver Surfer's like, I can think of something that
I know something that is as hungry as Galactus.
Yeah.
Magneto could find a new planetoid M.
It's just him. It's just that guy. We live on Prufrock now. It's like my creepy Krakoa.
Yeah.
You could have a little piece of it show up.
Yeah.
And like call out.
Right.
I don't know how we'd get there though.
You
could have, like you said, you could have scientists show up and find him. Like it's just
the possibilities, Reynolds. It's a 34-year-old story that no one has ever tried to appropriate.
Like, what if
Marvel essentially swept this under the rug when they're just like, just put it on a planet.
What? They were like, they just were like, hey, Ron and Jim, like, end it, you know? But like, it seems like there is a journey. I don't know why it goes across these 4 titles. Again, I genuinely think they're like, Hulk, Daredevil, and Silver Surfer need Punisher fans.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
Maybe it was these books aren't selling as well.
Yeah.
They can all do a book together.
Right. Well, it's
Everyone
like,
else has more important annuals.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
So it's like I almost can see the Silver Surfer line with the Galactus connection.
there's some thematic connection.
With Hulk, it makes sense.
There's a duality of monster in it.
Daredevil, you at least have like the guilt factor in there.
Yes, yes.
There's some, like his compassion. Punisher's actually the one I'm like,
What?
Why is Punisher here?
Right. Well, it's because like Punisher let it happen because he's a very careless character.
I guess that's true. I mean, it all does
that's how
kind
it
of
started.
work.
Right, and it's like because we couldn't let it happen to Spider-Man. It had to be Frank that let it happen. I don't know. It's weird. I genuinely think because back in 1990, Punisher was a very popular character and sold very well. I think it's just like it's going to start with Punisher because that's where the bulk of the readers are, and we can do a gross adult-oriented story in a Punisher and it won't feel weird like it would in a higher-selling book.
I mean, it's still weird.
It's weird and gross, but at least it's not inconsistent with the themes of the character. Like, Frank deals with a guy who wants to steal something and is part of a larger conspiracy. Like, yeah, it sounds like Frank. And it gets slightly above his pay grade. Okay. So, there you have it. Lifeform.
Oh, Hobbs and Robbins are actually bad cops too.
Yeah. Oh. I know, right? Like, there's a lot of deep elements.
There's a lot
to
of
that.
deep elements. What would happen if the Brood came across him on the planet? Who wins that one?
Right, they connect with him in some way, and maybe he infects them, and like you got a whole crew of Brood that are actually also George. Because they're also like a hive mind.
Yeah.
So you could have George be the leader of
That's
the Brood.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
And like the pieces that are here on Earth, like calls out to them, and those like they follow, and he's like, "Yeah, go,
get
vengeance."
Then you
and
can
like
have like the Brood like connect to each other, and you can get another Akira situation.
right, and then like these characters could all join back up because like George is targeting them.
Yeah, because he's like, "You let me die,
or you
Daredevil,
didn't."
Punisher. Yeah, you wouldn't kill me. Well, it's also like the whole thing would just be, I need to orchestrate a big enough threat so that the Silver Surfer will come, because he's my greatest quarry.
Yes.
In the War Journal,
Yeah.
Frank's talking about different guns he uses every once in a while, and he's just like, look, there's sometimes where you need 180 rounds, and sometimes there's a little gem of a gun called the Derringer, a little 32 caliber thing. He keeps it in the book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's awesome.
How do you do that? With a gun.
Yeah, like this. That's
yeah, I'm your friend. I'm totally your friend.
Yeah, I don't believe you, Blam. That's funny. I like that.
I enjoyed this more than I thought, but I think I enjoyed it more because of things that could happen with it.
Yeah, it's the potential. That's why I even wanted to cover it
And
at
like,
all.
there is potential here,
Yeah.
and I really hope someone picks this up.
I hope so too. I
And
wanna
not
see
just
George
like some
come
like
back.
throwaway thing. Like just like this could be something interesting. Marvel is like just as complicit as the Silver Surfer is.
Yeah. Now everyone is aware.
Now you're aware of George.
Who George Proofrock is and what the Lifeform was all about, and hopefully it'll spark some interest.
Man,
but
is he a more infamous George now than Move the Car George?
Yeah, move off the planet, George. I don't know.
Eat the flesh, George.
Move the planetoid, George.
So this is it. But if you want to read it, I highly recommend it. It's easy to find.
Is it?
Well, I mean, just go into your back issues under each of these characters and grab their respective annuals from 1990.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah. I mean, it's got 64 pages.
Yeah, you get extra stuff. The fun thing is you can come here for Lifeform, but stay for all the extra bonus material.
Unless
except
it's
for Daredevil,
Daredevil,
which is just more Lifeform. But yeah, and the Silver Surfer book, if you're a big classic fan of like Jim Starlin's Silver Surfer or Ron Mars' Silver Surfer, because both of them had written seminal periods of Silver Surfer, you got Ron Lim doing the art for most of it, and it is just part of the ongoing saga of Silver Surfer. Like it's classic Silver Surfer.
This is terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, that guy being like, oh no!
Like, oh God, help me, and then just everyone's getting wrecked.
Yeah.
Ugh. I think that's what bothered me with Akira too.
Yeah, I can't watch Akira again.
I've never seen Akira.
You're good. No, you should see it. It's cool.
Yeah, I know.
It's a triumph in animation.
Triumph.
But like those scenes, oh Jesus,
Yeah.
that's gruesome.
Right? But anyway, we'll see you guys next week on another episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Reading.
So Ben doesn't like that, and he also doesn't like when the spirit box talks to him.
No, that freaked me the fuck out.
He was so good. Ben had such a good time. And they were like, Ben, you want a spirit box?
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
this sounds like fun.
It responds, no, okay, I'm gone. Nope, we're out.
We're leaving. We're good. We're good.
No.
Seeing the ghost didn't
Not-
bother me.
not a
The
problem.
dots were fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
But hearing.
Flickering lights, yeah.
Yep.
All good. But the spirit box?
Nope.
No.
Admittedly, it does sound like it's in your brain when it's doing it.
No, thank
It's
you.
like, it's just the right kind of loud.
And the summoning circle. The summoning circle and the
Was that scary?
yeah, that was freaky.
Yeah, well, you
But that was
didn't
also
know.
freaky because, like, I did it. I didn't know how to do it at first, where I was, like, lighting the candles. Like, how do I light these freaking candles? Do I touch things? What goes on?
Yeah.
And then I finally got them all. And it happened, and we were freaked out. And the door locked?
Yes!
Why is the door locked?
Because it's not letting you leave.
Oh!